Bowser's Inside Story is amazing. After a short prologue that sets up the rest of the game, it just completely engulfs you in this amazing adventure of redemption and excitement. Lord Fawful has come to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, using Bowser as his puppet for the first act. He's given a mushroom that supposedly will help him defeat Mario. It gives him the ability to inhale anything into his stomach. He goes to Peach's castle to beat Mario once and for all, but after inhaling all of the occupants, the side effect of the strange mushroom knocks Bowser out. You wake up in a strange, pink cave, and you start getting used to Bowser being the hero of the story. Welcome to Bowser's Inside Story. Have you ever played a game where something like super interesting and crazy happens, but then you have to wait a while before one of these like goofy, stupid moments happen again? In Bowser's Inside Story, everything that happens is just random and hilarious. Bowser straight up like dies 3 fucking times, and you have to hammer his balls to make him grow huge and beat the shit out of his own castle, a train, and some old ass robot. Lord Fawful is the villain of the story. I haven't played any of the other Mario and Luigi games, but I know that Lord Fawful wants to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. This game introduces a pig named Midbus, who serves as Bowser's mirror image, if you could even call it that. Midbus is a lot dumber and way more durable, and the dynamic between the two is often very funny. I mean, like, look at this pink-ass motherfucker. And I swear to God, Nintendo was smoking some of that crazy shit when they made some of these cutscenes. At the beginning of the game, you find out that some toads have this mysterious disease that make them fat, and they call them blorbs. Later on, you find out that Fawful sold them mushrooms that made them this way. You know, one-time offense didn't really catch my eye, but later in the game, Bowser fights Midbus in Bowser's castle after it has been taken over by Fawful. Once you win, you get taken to a dining room by some booze that tell you you have to eat a victory feast. They force feed Bowser food until he bloats up and becomes so fat that he breaks in the floor and gets stuck. Now try and tell me Fawful isn't a Tumblr user. The evidence is conclusive. And another character that gets fat is Luigi. It's a power-up needed to progress. Fat Mario characters are pivotal to the story of this game 3 fucking times. 3 fucking times, Nintendo. There's this part where Bowser needs a Banzai Bill to shoot at his castle because Fawful took over it. So he finds a Wiggler farm where there's this giant-ass carrot. So he pulls that bitch out, and a giant Wiggler comes out of the hole saying that the carrot Bowser just pulled out was being grown for generations or some shit. And now Bowser has to eat it if he wants the Banzai Bill that this Wiggler has for some reason. And after Bowser eats the thing, the Wiggler gets mad at Bowser for doing what he asks of him. So then you beat the shit out of him and just take the Banzai Bill. I told you, this game was like crazy, fuck. As for actual gameplay, there is turn-based combat, and it's like an RPG where you level up and get better gear. If you decide to run away from too many fights, you will regret it. I was stuck on a boss for a while because Mario and Luigi were like severely underleveled, and I had to play the fight to perfection to progress. The game won't halt you if your characters are underleveled, it'll just make fights a lot more difficult, which I appreciate. What really hooked me on this game, though, was Bowser. In this game, he is essentially an anti-hero. When he finds out that Lord Fawful took over Peach's castle and his castle, he immediately starts going towards his own castle. He does have intentions to save Peach's castle as well, but to him, his castle comes first. Some people might look at this as selfish, but I think it's a completely respectable decision. He is the king of his people. He feels responsible for them. To me, this is completely moral. Throughout the game, I gained more and more respect for Bowser. When Bowser inhaled the occupants of Peach's castle, they had to live inside of his stomach until the game progresses and you can leave Bowser from pipes that somehow work inside of his body. Starlo is essentially the tutorial character as well as a pivotal character to the plot. Occasionally, for Bowser to progress, something must happen inside of him. For example, there's this part where Bowser is sniffing flowers and the Mario Brothers have to go into his nose and slam into parts of his nose to make him sneeze so hard that he sends a ship launching to progress. There's this point in the game where Bowser needs to open a large safe. He forgot the code and needs Starlo, who is going by the alias Chippy as to not alert Bowser of the fact that the Mario Brothers are inside of him, gets ordered by Bowser. She tells him that she doesn't like his tone and makes him say please. You can see the helplessness in Bowser's face as he slouches over and asks, "Find it pretty, please?" I was shocked that someone like Bowser would ask for something so nicely. Later in this game, Bowser hurts his back like really fucking badly. He is in extreme pain and tells Chippy that he hurt his back. After, he says, "Do something. Now." But he corrects himself and says, "Do something. Please." Seeing Bowser so vulnerable like this really made me want to create this video. He didn't have to say please. Chippy and the Mario Brothers needed him to storm Peach's castle. But he knows that he should be polite to Chippy, considering that, to his knowledge, Chippy has fixed everything in Bowser as well as giving him upgrades he needs to progress. Anti-heroes usually have two things that make them anti-heroes: a noticeable vulnerability and a shimmer of humanity. Bowser can't progress without Chippy. He needs to drop his unstoppable ruler act to ask for help. Bowser saying please without being asked just shows me that Bowser does in fact have a shimmer of humanity, as well as a noticeable weakness. Every villain is a hero of their own story, and the way I see it, Bowser just cares deeply for his castle and his minions. Lord Fawful even converts all of Bowser's minions to his rule, which I can only imagine would be devastating for Bowser. He lost so much in so little time. But, moving on from Bowser, the sprites in this game are just amazing, full of wacky expressions, and in my opinion, Bowser's sprite is really damn cool. The character design in this game is just amazing. When Bowser gets all mad and clenches his teeth together, I can really feel how angry he is, and when Mario goes, I really felt that on a personal level. There's these three minions that call themselves the Elite Trio: Sergeant Guy, Corporal Paraplunk, and Private Goomp. They are essentially just the basic Mario enemies, but with different designs that make them unique. I love stuff like that. The music in this game is insane as well. The song I used in the intro of this video is from Bowser's Inside Story, and there are a lot more songs that are just as good and even better. They just seem to evoke the right emotion in me at the right time while playing, and I love it. Like, you go to the beach and it's all, and then you go to Dimple Woods and it's all, overall, I think the music is great, and it just adds so much to this already amazing game. I recently found out that they did a remake of this game for the 3DS, but honestly, I prefer the DS version. Although, that might just be because of nostalgia, as I played this game when I was very young. Overall, Bowser's Inside Story was one of the best gaming experiences I've had in a long time. I'm glad I decided to play it again out of boredom. It always had my interest, and it never got boring. From the characters, to the music, to the story, this game is up there with my favorites. Thank you for watching.